Did I call it or what? I said the Patriots' offensive line was suspect, and if the Seattle defense could bust down their doors, it was going to be a long, miserable night for Drake May. And I was right. Now you're saying, gee, John, sounds like you're patting yourself on the back for that. You know what? I am. So, for those of you just listening on radio, yes, I actually did pat myself on the back. But even though I was right about Seattle winning the Super Bowl last week, the game itself was kind of a snoozer. We didn't even get a touchdown until the fourth quarter. Part of me was wondering if we'd ever see a touchdown in that game. But this definitely will not go down as a Super Bowl classic. But I will say this, the other stuff surrounding the Super Bowl, the commercials this year were actually, a lot of them pretty good. Actually, some of the best commercials I've seen in the Super Bowl in a long time, and quite a few of them were pretty funny. Now, maybe not I fell out of my chair and laughed my butt off funny, like, say, when I watched those movies The Hangover or American Pie, but they did elicit a chuckle out of me. I did like the Uber Eats commercial with Matthew McConaughey and Bradley Cooper. That was really clever. The Chris Hemsworth commercial where he thinks Alexa is trying to kill him. That was a good one. I'll tell you, another good one was the Goodwill Dunkin' one with Ben Affleck and all those stars of 90s TV sitcoms. And the Budweiser commercial with the horse and the eagle. That was cool, especially the part where the eagle spreads its wings on the back of the horse. Oh, I love that one, man. And then they showed a trailer for Project Hail Mary, which looks really, really good. I definitely want to see that one. And it's based on a novel by Andy Weir, the same guy who did The Martian, which is one of those rare occasions where I enjoyed the book and the movie equally. And speaking of trailers, they had the one where they tried to do the take on the Budweiser Clydesdales, only with Tauntauns for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of meh. I already didn't want to see that movie, and this commercial, well, that didn't change my mind at all. Well, then again, ever since Disney got hold of Star Wars, they've utterly destroyed that franchise. Okay, the first two seasons of The Mandalorian, I really enjoyed, and I thought Rogue One was pretty good. But every other Star Wars project that Disney has produced is just a pile of garbage sprinkled with dead cockroaches. Then, of course, I said on the show last week, I wasn't going to talk about the Super Bowl halftime show because for the past several years, it's been the same spiel from me. It sucks. It was spectacle over substance. Why can't we have something other than pop or rap? Just same old, same old. Well, I thought that until last Sunday because, man, has that halftime show generated a lot of controversy. Well, also, we had Super Bowl halftime shows. In the words of Londo Malari from Babylon 5, note the plural, shows. Of course, you had the actual Super Bowl halftime show with Bad Bunny, where you had Rock Nation say, oh, it was the most watched Super Bowl halftime show in history. I think they said they reported like 135 million fans or 135 million viewers. Now that number is rather suspect. And also, there is an outfit called Samba that, from my understanding, what it does is it uses smart TVs to track viewership. So what they found was in a minute-by-minute breakdown, between 10 and 20 million people tuned out of Bad Bunny's halftime show. And again, those are just people with smart TVs. That's not counting people who are watching on regular TVs or maybe people tuning in on the radio. So I'm sure this is something that advertisers are going to look at and go, well, we're paying millions for a commercial. And if it's scheduled during the halftime show and millions of people are just going to tune out, why should we be paying that much? Now, as for Bad Bunny himself, I did not watch his halftime show. I only saw clips of it, but just for research sake, I did watch a few of his music videos, and they were just lame. Like, the music was uninspiring. He does not have a very dynamic voice. In fact, one song, all he did was just talk to the music. I can talk to music, for crying out loud. Then you have all these videos from inside the stadium that show most of the fans there during the halftime show they were just standing around, just kind of looking confused, stupefied, unengaged, uninterested. I mean, there were a few people who were dancing, but in my view, it almost looked like they were trying to force themselves to dance and enjoy the show. But for the most part, like, no one at Levi's Stadium looked like they were having a good time. And I know a lot of people have been pointing out that, well, Bad Bunny was singing in Spanish, and that's why people couldn't get into it. They couldn't understand him. And honestly, I got to say, him singing in Spanish really isn't a big deal to me. I mean, I listen to a bunch of bands who sing in a language other than English. Okay, here's some examples. Outside of Da, Niet, Tovarish, and Spasibo, I don't know any Russian. But I seriously enjoy that pagan metal band from Russia, Arcona. Even saw them live in concert several years ago. Really enjoyed that. Then there's a band from New Zealand called Alien Weaponry. They sing all their songs in the Maori language. I don't know a lick of Maori, but I still dig their stuff. Oh, heck, even some bands who sing in English. I'll be darned if I can understand anything they're saying. Okay, example, Cannibal Corpse. I have no idea what their singer Corpse Grinder is saying on the song Hammer Smashed Face, but I love that song. The guitar work, the drum work are outstanding. It doesn't matter what language you're singing in. If you have passion and energy in your voice, if you have a really good beat, good instrumentals, you're going to get into it. You're going to enjoy it. Bad Bunny, however, does not fit into that category. And as I mentioned before, we had halftime shows, plural, because Turning Point USA put on its alternative show, and that's actually what I saw at the Super Bowl party I was at, and I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it didn't blow me away, but, it was pretty good, and I have to say, honestly, outside of Kid Rock, I had no idea who the other performers were, probably because they were country singers, and I'm not exactly a country music person, but look, I grew up in New Jersey, not exactly a hotbed of country music. But who was it? Like Gabby Barrett and what's his name? The Bryce guy. I thought they were pretty good. I thought they had some good talent, good voices there. The one thing I did like about this halftime show was they focused on the musicians. You didn't have an army of dancers and overly elaborate stage sets. It was the singer front and center, as it should be. And for only I don't care what your opinion is on TPUSA. Some people may not like the organization or whatever, but you got to give it up to them because they only had maybe like 3 months to put this whole thing together. And I thought they did a pretty good job of it. And now that they're going to have a whole year, I think their show next year is going to be much, much better. Because you got to think about time constraints, the availability of artists, because usually many of these artists, they plan their tours months, years in advance. So now that they do have a year there, they can probably book a lot more well-known artists for their show next year. And also, they did pretty good numbers. I think they pulled in something like 40 million viewers across all their platforms for Sunday, and it actually became the #1 entertainment live stream in the entire history of YouTube. So now the detractors will say, well, Bad Bunny got more views than TPUSA. But the thing is, that wasn't the point. The point of the TPUSA halftime show was to offer a legit alternative to the other halftime show and show the world that there are millions and millions of people who just want something else. Kind of like that one scene in that show MASH, where Hawkeye got sick and tired of eating the same food in the mess hall, he jumps up on the table and he starts shouting, "We want something else! We want something else! Yeah, we want something else!" And we finally got it after years of telling the NFL that, hey, why can't you give us like some rock or country artists? And the NFL just says, go bleep yourself. Now, you got to figure that if the NFL had any brains, they'd look at all the people TPUSA drew in for their show and go, maybe we need to think some stuff with our halftime show. Not going to hold my breath over that as long as Roger Goodell is in charge because, well, a ratty pair of sneakers has a higher IQ than he does. Also, one other thing before we go to break that I'm wondering here. What the heck kind of name is Bad Bunny anyway? Sounds like the name of an antagonist from something like Bluey or Paw Patrol. I don't know. Anyway, 928-541-1016, number to call here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. Break time here on the Roundup. When we come back, we're going to be talking Prescott girls soccer as they get ready to jump into the state tournament proper. In the studio with me, I've got Annabelle Courtney, I've got Eva Mazzone, I've got Jade Furr. We'll talk about their season coming up right after this. Welcome back on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you here on the radio side. You heard our bumper there. That was a bit of a heist from Lindsey Sterling, one of the greatest violinists in the world, who I think she would have put on an awesome halftime show. Anyway, enough about halftime shows. Let's talk about Prescott girls soccer, who have just really been heating it up the last few weeks. They've knocked off a couple of top 10 teams, and they're heading into the state tournament proper on Tuesday, taking on Cactus Shadows. In the studio with me this morning, I've got Annabelle Courtney, I've got Eva Mazzone, and I've got Jade Furr from the Lady Badgers. Ladies, good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Okay, and I've said this, I got to start off with Jade here because, Jade, you were involved in quite an incident in that 6-0 rout of Lee Williams last week where somehow, for some unfathomable reason, one of the players on Lee Williams decided to take a chunk out of your arm. What the heck happened there?
So, yes, I was assaulted with a mouth. I was, as I am, 6 feet tall and going against someone very small. And I was just standing there waiting for one of our defenders to throw in a ball. And I had moved my elbow, not knowing that she was, right on the side of me. And instead of her, moving her mouth or, I don't know, turning away, she, she just left her mouth open. And I turned my arm and, her teeth literally, brailed my arm. They scraped across my arm. I don't know, like, if she was, like, trying to do that. I don't think she was, but she, like, clenched her jaw, and I'm full. Like, I have scrape marks on the back of my arm. I still do.
Did you have to go get a tetanus shot afterwards or what?
I did not. It did not break too much skin. It just kind of roughed the surface, but I did clean it with peroxide and all of that good stuff.
Good move.
So.
Okay, Eva. Okay, I got to ask you this: have you ever been involved in a game where you got bit by another player?
No, not that I recall. Not that I recall, but you never know with some of these teams.
Annabelle, what about you? Have you ever been bitten during a game?
I can't say that I've ever been bit.
I guess that would be a rare one there. But anyway, outside of the bite, Jade, like I said, Prescott has really turned it on the last few weeks, getting hot at the right time, coming down the stretch, going into playoffs. But I guess it took a longer journey for you ladies to kind of get things going. So just kind of take us back to the beginning of the season and why it kind of took so long for everyone to gel as a team.
Right. At the beginning of the season, I feel like we had all of the pieces, like, to our puzzle, and we all had our talents, and it really just needed time, especially coming from, like, players not playing, players playing on a different team, and just everybody being in a different space, that we all needed to come together and flow together. And that just took more time than I would say it normally does, considering the past few years we've had the same club team and just everything has always been together. And then this year we've had just such a different variety. So I think it just took a longer time, but it clicked and it's working and it will continue to work. So that's what happened.
So, Eva, I guess one of the other things that you had to deal with was, I think, Prescott graduated, like 12 or 13 seniors from last year's team. So when you have that kind of turnover, did that make it a little difficult for you ladies to kind of get on the same page quickly?
I definitely think it did. I feel like a lot of us had a lot of pressure coming into this season, feeling like we had really big shoes to fill. So just a lot of pressure, and then I think we've done really well, though, like filling those shoes. It just took us longer, and we had a lot of people who had a lot to say about how they thought this season would go. And so I'm just really proud of how we've all, like, adapted and learned to work together.
Mm-hmm. And Annabelle, of course, January was kind of a rough patch for you. Yeah, you got a win over Mojave to start the month, and then it was like 3 straight losses, all by scores of 2-0. What was the mood of the team at that point where it's like we can't forget about not even getting a win. We can't even get a goal right now.
Yeah, it was definitely kind of disheartening. We kind of came from, like, because all the seniors graduated, so we were worried that, like, we wouldn't be able to live up to it, like Eva said. So it was kind of just, like, we were just worried that, like, what people were saying was, like, going to be true, and just, like, it was just really stressful, and it really put a damper in our mood. But I'd say, like, our coach really helped us with that because, like, even through, like, the losses, he always, like, believed in us. And so that was, I'd say, like, a big thing. But it definitely, like, killed the vibe after those losses.
And then, Jade, do you feel like even though you didn't win, it was still a tie. But do you feel like that Flagstaff game started to turn the corner for you ladies or what?
Yes, I definitely feel that in that flag game, we went just into a whole different space and we definitely dominated. And I know that the score may say, like, different, may show different, but we controlled that game and we really showed ourselves this is our team and this is what we need to work for.
And, of course, Eva, on the heels of that, you take on Coconino, and on paper, it looked like a heck of a mismatch. At the time, Coco was number 2 in the power points. You ladies were all the way down at number 17, yet you beat them 1-0. What were some of the keys to getting that win over number 2 Coconino at that time?
I think that entire week, the Flagstaff and Coconino game, we were all very motivated. Like, we knew these games had to be won for us to go any further, so that personally gave me a lot of drive to play my hardest out there. And I just think that game was just pure, like, we just wanted to play for each other and for our school because we knew how we had been performing weeks prior. We just hadn't, like you said, pulled out a win in a while. So it was good to go out there and just do it for each other and do it for our school.
So, Annabelle, after that big win over Coconino, like I said, just eking out a win 1-0, how much did that change the mood and the vibe of Prescott going forward?
I'd say almost completely. Like, a big part of soccer, I'd say, is confidence. Like, if you feel confident, like, you play 10 times better. And it just really gave us back, like, our confidence. And we learned, like, we figured out how to pass, like, what works for us and, like, how to do it. And so we just reached, like, flow from there.
Mm-hmm. And you really flowed when it came to Lee Williams. And again, this is another game that on paper, it looked like it should go to Lee Williams. I think Lee Williams was number 7 at the time. Prescott was number 13. And it didn't look like a 7 versus 13 on paper because you pretty much pounced, trounced, and denounced them. 6-0 was the final score in that one. So Jade, what was going on with Prescott where rankings didn't matter that night? You just came out there and you just said, this is our house and you're an uninvited guest and we're going to treat you like it.
Oh, yeah. I think that before the game, this team specifically is motivated by you telling us we can't. So, like, you telling us, oh, this girl's good, like, you better watch out for her. That's just going to give us motivation to be like, okay, cool, we're going to shut her down. Like, the motivation to just keep going and just take what we deserve, in a sense, is just that led us on a high. So I just think that and working really hard to get what we wanted. We weren't just like, oh, like, here's another game. We're like, yep, we're going to win this. Like, we don't care about rankings. We don't care about this player. Like, blah, blah, blah. Let's just go in.
Okay, and then, of course, that puts you in a contest with Mojave for the state play-in round. And, Eva, that was a game where actually you and your sister Belle just really went off there. You had 2 goals. Belle had another one there. So what was going on with the sister act that night?
I think our entire team really thrives off each other's success. So when we get 1 goal, it's like we just want to keep going and we want to keep the flow going throughout the whole game. So when Belle got her goal, I was just like so motivated to go out there and just shoot it, not worry about where it goes or it being perfect, just try my hardest and do what I can for my team. So when I was out there, I was just thinking, like, it doesn't matter where the ball goes. Like, all I can do is give my full effort, and if it goes in the net, like, that's amazing. And a big part of this season has been blocking out the noise because everyone's had their opinion on how far we were going to go. I mean, the rankings, like you've been saying, like, that can really get in your head. Like, we're ranked 17th. We've never been ranked that low. But just a big part is ignoring it and just giving your all in the field.
And Annabelle, because, of course, it was 2 Grand Canyon region teams in the play-in round game, you went up against Mojave early in the season. You beat them, close game, 3-2. What was the difference between the Mojave game in the regular season compared to what we saw Thursday night in the state play-in round?
I'd say a big thing was, like, defense. Like, in the beginning of the season, like, because a lot of the last few years' defenders, they've just been playing together, and, like, defense is just one of those things where it's, like, you need to have good chemistry. Like, the center backs have to have great communication. You have to work with your outside backs a lot. And so I just say, like, really tightening up and, like, fixing our defense just really helped the whole team, like, move. And, like, we knew what we had to do. And, like, when we played them first, it was just 2 mistakes that got the goals. And now we just cracked down and we've got it.
Okay. Well, folks, in the studio with me this morning, I've got Jade Furr, I've got Eva Mazzone, and I've got Annabelle Courtney from the Prescott girls soccer team as they get ready for the Sweet 16 Tuesday, taking on Cactus Shadows, which is actually going to be another rematch from the regular season. So we'll talk more with these ladies on the other side of the break. But before we go to break, as we always do, it's time to see who shined over the past 7 days as we present the Tri-City Sports Roundup 3 Stars of the Week. Starting with the ladies, our number 3 star is Addie Prisciandero of the Prescott basketball team. She amassed 20 points in the Lady Badgers' 46-36 victory over Flagstaff last Friday, which, oh, by the way, sewed up the Grand Canyon region title for them. The number 2 star is Riley Morris Rexford of the Embry-Riddle basketball team. She nailed a buzzer beater in the Lady Eagles' 59-58 overtime win over Life Pacific last Saturday. And our number 1 star of the week is Gianna May of the Prescott wrestling team. She won the section championship at the section tournament last Saturday. Now for the guys, our number 3 star is Cam Raniker of the Bradshaw Mountain basketball team. He collected 22 points in the Bears' 79-57 triumph over Lee Williams Tuesday. The number 2 star is Jason Parent of the Yavapai College basketball team. He recorded 23 points in the Rough Riders' 79-60 loss to Cochise Wednesday. And our number 1 star of the week is Noah Gift of the Embry-Riddle basketball team. He notched 32 points in the Eagles' 86-59 victory over La Sierra Thursday. Congratulations to our 3 stars of the week. Break time here on the Roundup. We'll be back with more right after this. We are back here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you. Hey, before we dive in back to our guests here, couple scores to bring you from last night. We had the state play-in round for boys soccer. Prescott, they defeated ALA Queen Creek 1-0. They'll be moving on to the Sweet 16. Bradshaw Mountain, unfortunately, their season came to an end. They lost to Amphitheater down in Tucson. Final score there, 3-1. By the way, also want to say best of luck to the Prescott, Bradshaw Mountain, Chino Valley boys wrestling teams. They have their sectional meets today. Anyway, back to our guests. I've got Jade Furr. I've got Eva Mazzone. Well, I don't know, after the text that Coach Campazano sent me, I guess it's Evan Mazzone, or I think that was a typo, right?
I think that was a typo.
So Eva Mazzone, not Evan, Eva Mazzone. And now I just threw Coach Campazano under the bus, and he's just probably going, yeah, thanks a lot, John. See if I ever give you another interview. And then, of course, Annabelle Courtney we have over here. Anyway, I figure why waste time here? Actually, these I actually told them about Lightning Round, and these girls have been preparing for it almost as much as they prepare for a game here. So let's just get right to Lightning Round. Annabelle, I'm going to start with you. Who is the best dressed player on Prescott? Who's the Prescott fashion plate?
Ooh, low-key, I don't think there's just one. So I'd say Melissa, Claire, and Maya.
Oh, geez, a 3-way tie. Okay, Eva, who would you say is the funniest player on Prescott? Who's the team comedian?
Mallory is the funniest. She makes her whole team laugh no matter the situation. The other team could have a penalty kick in the box and she's cracking jokes. And Maggie is secretly funny. Like on the low key, she's really funny. Like she's really quiet, but she whips out jokes every now and then.
I'm just wondering when Mallory Walsh heads up to Grinnell College next year, what her teammates are going to think of that. And by the way, congrats to Mallory Walsh. In case you didn't hear, she did sign with Grinnell College up in I think it's Idaho, I think it is, or Iowa. One of those
One
I
of the
states.
eyes.
Yeah, one of the I states, where their mascot is a squirrel. Where she actually told me that they actually have a species of squirrel that is particular to that campus. Never knew that. Anyway, Jade, on the opposite end, who would you say is probably the most serious player on Prescott?
Oh. Well, it's not safe to say none of us because, well, I would say Sophia Davidson is very serious about just positioning and just very focused and precise, and she spends a lot of extra time perfecting what she wants to perfect, and just she stays driven and motivated, and that keeps us on track.
All right. By the way, I did double check my notes. Grinnell College is in Iowa. Of course, the setting for one of my all-time favorite movies, Field of Dreams, and hopefully she will get out to the Field of Dreams field there. That would be pretty cool. Anyway, Courtney, who would you say is probably the most talkative player on Prescott?
Ooh, I gotta say me, Mallory, or Jade. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm glad we got Jade in here. You always want talkative people on the radio. Now, Eva, who is the quietest player on the team? The team you really just have to like pull words out of.
Honestly, no one. But if I had to pick, probably Sophia Kamrar. She's very reserved, I feel like, but she's so sweet. But she is probably the most quiet.
Okay, Jade, who on Prescott? I think you guys are really debating this one. Who on Prescott can eat the most in one sitting?
Oh boy. So I would like to say that just to say in general, we all just eat like banshees, but it's totally fine. Aside from us, I'd have to say Mary has to be the one that just absolutely goes to town. I always see her snacking, but me too. Like we just be snacking. Like it's no shame. Like we all eat. Come on.
Yeah. Hey, you should have saw me at that Super Bowl halftime party last week. I mean, brisket wings. I ain't passing that up.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, and the cake too. Like this
Yes.
trays, the trays something or other French thing, which is really really good.
Ooh.
So and apparently Eva and Annabelle really found that whole thing with the eating really funny. So can you attest to that, Eva, about how you girls just like to dive into food and everything, or what?
Oh yeah. I mean, if we have an away game, all we think about is eating after. So it's the motivation. It's halftime. We're like, guys, it's all right. We're getting Chick-fil-A after. So
No, it's like if we lose, there's no Chick-fil-A.
no
Like,
Chick-fil-A.
that's-
No Chick-fil-A if we don't score.
What, boy, where do they take you to eat if you don't score? Like Taco
Nowhere.
Bell or something?
Nope, straight home.
Starve.
Oh, okay.
Water.
Water and some saltines.
Yeah.
Oh man. So well, anyway, as I said, coming up on Tuesday, actually, it's going to be Prescott versus Cactus Shadows in the state tournament proper, since they already had the play-in game. And actually, Annabelle, Cactus Shadows is a team you actually played earlier in the season, and I believe you lost to them 3-1. And of course, that was like about a month and a half ago that game took place. So what do you feel are some of the things you guys got to do differently in that game against Cactus Shadows on Tuesday?
I would say just like really, really be first to the ball and just really play like aggressive. By the second half of that game, I'd say we kind of figured out like we kind of shut them down, and that's when we got our goal. And so I'd say like this is a winnable game. Like we're 10 times better than we were when we played them, and I just think that we need to like be confident and know that we got it.
And Jade, I know the games I've been to the last couple weeks, and Coach has been talking to you, and in the post game huddles, and basically his thing is, you know what, Prescott might go into this with a lower ranking than usual, but it's almost like that's in your guys' favor, because I don't think a lot of people in the state are figuring Prescott's going to do anything. But considering the way you've been playing, it's like sometimes it doesn't matter what your ranking is. It's, are you getting hot at the right time? And Prescott is certainly getting hot at the right time.
Yes, we are. My mom always tells me any team is beatable on any given day, which is like a classic common line, but it's so true. Like rankings mean absolutely nothing when you show up to the field and you show people who you really are. So I just say we're ready, we're confident, like we got that.
All right. So Eva, since we're talking about soccer here, how did you get involved in playing soccer?
Oh my gosh. I've played soccer since, actually, me, Jade, and Annabelle have played together since we were like, in third grade.
Ooh.
We just joined a club team and we've played together since then. Like, we would have tournaments every single weekend growing up, 4 practices a week. So it's been a part of my life for a very, very long time.
So Annabelle, what made you want to get into soccer?
Well, I've always had an older sister I've just like looked up to, like most people with older sisters do. And she was in soccer, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. Like just that, and then like I've loved it from there. We play different positions, but we both just have a big love for the sport.
And Jade, what about you? What is it that got you involved in soccer?
I would like to say I think my parents put me in there when I was like 4, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I started to just love it, in a sense, just loving my team. And then, like Eva said, I started to like get more advanced and like get to a competitive level where it meant more than just like a Saturday here or a Saturday there. Like it was really like big part of my life, and found a community in there, and I just wanted to stick with it.
Okay, now here's the thing, because Jade, you said you're 6 foot, you got a pretty good wingspan there. You would think that coaches would look at you and go, goalie.
Yep.
So how come you between the pipes?
So I have tried goalie. I think maybe I'm coordinated, but I don't think I'm that coordinated. I'm also really effective when it comes to heading the ball because no one else can get it before I can. So, yeah, I don't know. Goalie's just been reserved for those who train goalie. So I don't know. I mean, I can always be backup, but you know,
Or back up to the backup.
back up to the back. Yeah, back up to the backup.
Oh, man. So now, of course, we're dealing with soccer at the 4A level, which, of course, means it's taking place in winter, which means, well, doesn't matter to the teams in Phoenix and Tucson. Up here, things will get cold and everything. So, Eva, what's probably the coldest soccer game you've ever been involved with?
There was one last year where we had to like break the ice and shovel it off the field before we went out there. So I'd say that was pretty cold, and we didn't have the propane tanks last year, so a little chilly. And yeah, I would say that's it. This year hasn't been terrible.
Well, actually, yeah. So Annabelle, what's probably the coldest game you've ever played in?
Last year we had a game where it was like below freezing almost like the whole time, and it was horrible. Like when the ball hit you, it would sting, and like your feet would just get so cold. And that was the coldest game I've ever played in.
Okay, Jade, what about you? Coldest game you've ever been involved with?
Coldest game. Since I wasn't there last year, I'd say sophomore year. Like Eva was saying, we had to take the 13 shovels out of the shed and physically shovel off the field to be able to play on it. And I mean, if the snow's not melting, it's below freezing, so it was cold. And then I just remember, even with like sweaters or anything, like you were just sitting there, like couldn't feel your fingers, couldn't untie your shoes, and like since the water had been off the field, it would like get on to your shoes and like form crystals like on the laces. Like I specifically remember trying to untie them and like ice crystals coming off.
Jeez.
So it was cold.
Now, we talked about cold weather, but also we can get nasty weather, rain, sleet, snow during some games. And, of course, unless there's lightning, they're playing through all that. So, Eva, what's probably the worst weather conditions you've ever played in?
Honestly, this year at the Mojave gym, it felt like we were being suffocated in there. Like, our girls were going through it. It was so, like, it felt like you couldn't get a deep breath of air. 'Cause, like, we were, like, just in this big building, and there was, like, no air conditioning or anything.
What? What about the scorpion? Annabelle, what about the scorpion?
Well, on halftime, one of our players like had a cramp just because it was like so hot and horrible. And they were like, "Oh, don't sit on the bench. There's like a scorpion." And or Jade said it, but the goat Chad himself carried it out on his hat and let it go free.
The goat.
Yep.
I never would have imagined when I asked the question, what's the worst weather conditions you've played in, it would involve an indoor arena.
It was torture.
It
It was
was
so
torture.
bad.
Yeah. I don't know. My experience at the Anderson Fieldhouse when we did football there was actually pretty nice. I mean, except for the fact that Prescott lost the game, but but I mean the conditions itself were good. So I don't know what happened between then and your guys' game there, man. So Annabelle, would that also be your worst weather conditions, or let me specify worst weather conditions in an outdoor venue? How about that?
My freshman year at Lee Williams, it started like the Lee Williams field is already like really, really bad, and it's like really small. It's just like not fun to play on.
Mhm.
But it started like raining, and then it started hailing, and then it was like really sunny one, and it was just like the weather was really bipolar the whole game. That was probably the worst one.
Man, I would be surprised if there was like a ghost sighting during all that. I mean, for Lee Williams, that would be like the right conditions for a haunting there. Man. Jade, what about you? Worst weather you've ever played in?
Oh, probably taking me back to sophomore year again. The weather is rough here. I definitely remember, besides the one that was really freezing, when it was physically snowing / like sleeting, and it was like you're running and it's like coming down into your eyeballs, but it's like penetrating your cornea, so it like hurts. And it's like small, like little like fluffs of snow, but it hurts. It felt like I was getting rocks thrown at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how do you play in that when obviously vision is very important in a game like that.
I was squinting really hard. I don't even know. I just remember it really hurting, and like it would make your face like red because you're just like running.
Eva, you really seem to be enjoying that story, huh? Did it invoke any kind of memories or what?
Oh, I just love Jade. She's so funny.
So were you ever in conditions like where snow was like pelting your eyeballs?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, and
Well-
I wear contacts, so sometimes I'm like genuinely blind on the field.
What about you, Annabelle? Ever been in a weather game where like your vision just gets totally shot?
Yeah, it's horrible. And like especially when the ball's like kicked up in the air and you have to like look up for it and there's snow going down, it's horrible.
And I imagine in cold, rainy weather like that, when the ball hits you in the head, the face, it ain't very fun, is it?
Nope, not at all.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. So, Jade, we just got a couple minutes left here on the show. So, Jade, as I said, Tuesday night, you're down at Cactus Shadows for the opening round of state. Give us some of the keys that Prescott has to do in order to get a win, move on to the Elite Eight.
All right, some keys that we have to do. For sure, confidence. I know we have that, but just sticking with that. Another thing is just not getting mad at each other or just dividing. We always have to stay unified no matter what. And I'd say like the last thing is having fun and just like enjoying the reason why we're out there and not getting in our heads and like thinking about every other possibility. Just have fun.
All right. Hopefully you ladies will have fun down there. And on the sports recap the next day, we can talk about a victory over Cactus Shadows. Anyway, folks, we're coming up to the end of the show here. I want to thank Annabelle Courtney, Eva Mazzone, Jade Furr from the Prescott girls soccer team for joining us and just telling us about them getting ready for Tuesday's big Dukaroo between them and Cactus Shadows in the state tournament. Ladies, thank you very much for your time here and best of luck on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Speaking of state tournaments, we're going to be broadcasting state tournament action for Prescott girls and boys basketball next week over on our sports station, the Team 1450 AM KNOT. You want to check that out? In fact, today, AIA is doing the selection show, so we will find out who the boys and girls will be playing at state. Also over on the Team 1450 on Sunday, we've got the NBA All-Star Game, so you definitely want to check that out. Also, if you want some softball here in the month of February on Monday, Embry-Riddle has its home opener. They'll be taking on College of Idaho in a doubleheader starting at 1 p.m. Folks, thank you very much for joining us here on Tri-City Sports Roundup. I'll see you again next week.